Hi, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the account scoring profiles that can be created within the Sales Fusion platform. I want to start out today's call by looking at the web forensics and looking at the tracker because you need to understand the difference between a known person and an unknown person. That does make the difference whether you're going to be scoring them at the account level or the contact level. As you can see on my screen here, we have our web analytics that we've been capturing, and you see that some of them have email addresses, like this one, whereas some of them do not. The difference here is that this person, we'll go with Kevin Miller at salesfusion.com, has been cookied by the Sales Fusion system. Person can be cookied in a couple different ways, either through clicking on links from an email campaign, or they can complete a dialogue. Any one of those two actions will place a cookie on the person's machine so that when they come back and they go back to your website, we will no longer be tracking them at the organizational level, but instead tracking them as a lead. We're going to be again looking at the account scoring profiles, and with the account scoring profiles, we are only looking at the unknown people, meaning these are the ones that don't have an email address beside them. The main purpose of creating an account scoring profile is to control what we call unknown web activity alerts. By default, if you were to turn on the web activity alerts, you would receive an alert for every single unknown person that touches your website, and that could be a little overwhelming. Please also keep in mind that some of these are ISPs or Internet Service Providers like Comcast Cable or UTEL Data Center Networks, and there's not really a whole lot of information that you can garner from a real-time alert. With the real-time alerts, you're looking to utilize some of our different integration processes like our LinkedIn integration and our Jigsaw integration, where you can actually do something with that particular unknown organization. The rest of the items, which you obviously do care about, which is the ISPs and what pages they're looking at and such, can be gathered in the daily or nightly analytics report. There's no need to receive real-time alerts. So again, the purpose of creating an account scoring profile is to create a threshold and some rules so that you don't receive alerts for every single unknown person. We're now going to go over to our profile screen. So I'm going to go to my Lead Analyzer tab, and I'm going to go to Profiles. Here we're going to create a new scoring profile. Obviously, you can see you can have multiple scoring profiles. I'm going to select New, and I'm going to give it a scoring profile name. As with everything, I always say make sure that it is something unique. I'm going to go with today's date of 07/26/12, and I'm going to call it Account Training. Profile type, choose Account or Contact. We're obviously going to choose Account. And I would highly recommend making the status inactive until you are 125% sure that you are ready for it to start scoring. Lead scoring is a little bit of a process, meaning that you're going to create it, you're going to turn it on, and then you're going to constantly be tweaking it. Until you are absolutely ready to turn it on, leave it as inactive. You can then enter a description for more informational organizational purposes. Click on Save in the bottom, and it's going to take us inside of the scoring properties. This is where we're going to get even more granular on what we can do. You can see it brought over the information that we just completed. Map the CRM field. If you want the score that's going to be gathered to be existing on the account table, you need to map it to a field. If you are using the Sales Fusion CRM only, we have a field here for you called Score that you can utilize. If you are using an external CRM system, such as a Sage CRM, Salesforce, Microsoft, you will need to create a custom field at the account table. On the very next sync, we will pull it down to Sales Fusion, and that is what you will map to. So there is a difference. If we go down, you can obviously have a date range where you can say begin scoring on this date and end scoring on this date. Most of the times people do leave it and it's constantly scoring, but again, just another option. Looking down here, we have two tabs. We have the Lead Routing tab, which we'll get to in a moment, and then we have the Account tab. The Account tab is where we're going to start off because this is where we're going to choose the different things that we're going to be scoring on. A lot of the process to setting up a scoring profile is the thought process that you have to put into it. You have to say, what is going to make me want to receive a real-time alert when somebody is on my website and I don't know who they are? So we're going to also talk about some best practices. So under the account, we have our first panel here, which is account scoring. And we're going to take a look at what can be scored under the account scoring. Rule type, we have a drop-down. We're going to run through what each of these are. The first is an account name. This is where you can look at organizations that have been on your website, which can be gathered from a nightly summary report or your analytics report. And if you see a company that's been on there over and over again, you might want to score them a little bit higher. Let's go with the example of Acme Co. If I have seen this company on my website many, many, many times, and I'm really interested in knowing as soon as they touch my website, then I can say score on Acme Co. as the organization name and assign X number of points. We'll talk about the point system shortly, so we'll come back around to that. So we'll say 5 points. If I come in and the reverse IP tells the system that I'm coming from Acme Co., I get 5 points. You can also use this in a negative manner. Let's say that you have a competitor that might be on your website and you don't want to receive real-time alerts. You can then do account's name, we'll call it competitor, and you can assign negative points. So you can say if it's the competitor's organization name, give them negative. I don't consider them to be a lead. I don't want to have to receive real-time alerts for them. So again, just options here. I'm going to select new. And my next option is going to be country. Sometimes people, and again, this is how you have to start looking at your scoring, sometimes businesses only do business in particular countries, or sometimes they do business in every country except for some. So if your business territory is, let's say, North America, North America includes Mexico, United States, and Canada. If you don't do business in India, then why would it be worth your while to receive a real-time alert from somebody from India, or somebody from Brazil, or somebody from Greece? It's great to see that information on your daily and nightly analytics report, but again, real-time alerts may not be necessary. With the country name, you can choose the countries that are captured here. So let's say I do business everywhere except for in Abu Dhabi. I can assign negative points here to automatically disqualify them out. Let's say that I do business nowhere in the world except for the United States. Again, I can go the opposite direction. I can choose United States, and I can say this is the only place I do business, and automatically bump them up. A lot of times people do business in multiple countries, multiple states, and in that case what you can do is you can create what we call a geo. A geo is a geography grouping that is created inside of the administration tab, which is right here. You would need to go to the Administration tab, look for Geos and List, and create your geo there. You can create a country geo, you can create a state geo, and you can group them all together. So you can see here that we have a list of geos, and let's say that Asia Pacific is where we do all of our business. I can again assign X number of points, or I can use it again in the opposite manner. If I do business everywhere except for Europe, I can then turn around and make it negative points, disqualify them out. Let's take a look at something else that we're able to score on. You can also score on page name. Now this is where we're getting into your web pages. If you do have multiple websites, you can score on any of those websites. With the page name, we are looking for the page name that comes after the domain. So here's an example. I'm on the salesfusion.com main website. And let's say that the pricing page was very important to me. I want to know and I want to score a little bit higher whenever somebody touches the pricing page. Most people think it would make sense to grab this entire URL, and that's what we would populate here. That is not accurate. You need to take out the HTTP, you need to take out the domain, and you're going to begin with everything from the / on. If you have any parameters, sometimes your URL will look like this, something like and source equals 123. You do want to bring those parameters across as well. Again, the way that you have to look at your website is you have to look at it from a prospect or a lead perspective. If I'm looking at this website, what are pages that somebody could touch that could go, this person is really truly interested in knowing more about my company. They're not just crawling my website. Pricing for us would be a big one. Obviously, somebody who's looking at our pricing page is showing a definite interest. We have product pages as well, where we have different items about the different offers that we have. We have resources. We have news and events. We have an About Us page. We have a Careers page. We have all kinds of pages that a person can touch. So pricing page, we'd score some extra points here. We also have a rule that you can throw in here where you can say score any page. You don't have to define every single page on this website one by one. We go back to page name, and you can say, I want to score any page. And this is outlined right here. Type in the word any, and any page that contains the analytics code in your customer ID would get scored X number of points. And we save it. You can also do wildcards. Again, a lot of times if we look at our products page here, if I look at my Microsoft Dynamics, you can see that we have Sales Fusion website. And if I go to another one, it's still Sales Fusion website. So this is a common factor where we could use a wildcard instead of having to go through one by one and list all of these pages on the scoring profile. So definitely look for common factors such as that. You also have page title. Page title is, again, looking at the page title of the particular page, which is located up here. This one is called Facebook Landing Pages with a vertical line, Sales Fusion website. If this is what I wanted to score on, then I would type it in here. I would type in Facebook Landing Pages, vertical line, Sales Fusion website, and it would know to score that particular page. Again, if you have a lot of pages and you have a common factor inside of the page title, you can definitely do a wildcard there as well. So we'll assign 2 points here for this one. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at our second panel. Our second panel is looking at the account scoring properties. So I'm going to select New here, and you see we have more rule types. The first one is actually a very good one to use in profiles. The reason for that is because it's telling the system, do not accumulate a score for these particular accounts. You only want to look at that particular web session for an account. Reasoning behind this is because if you have a scoring profile and you have a company, let's call them Acme Co. Acme Co is a huge company. They're global. They're all over the world. And you have a lot of people coming in. The organization that's getting logged is under Acme Co. If it's unknown activity, we are going to accumulate all of that activity into one. We basically archive it until we know who the person is, and then we separate it out to the contact lead level. But basically, if you're not putting an age limit on there to score only the current session, that score is going to get very high very quick because, again, we're rolling it all up into one until that person becomes cookied. So definitely a good thing to do on the account scoring. I'm going to select New here, and let's see our other ones. We have single session total time. Again, this is looking at an individual web session. The time is gauged in seconds, and you could put in something like greater than 300, greater than 500 seconds, whatever you want to do there. I do recommend looking and evaluating under your Web Forensics Tracker screen and seeing what is the average time that people are spending on your website or on a particular page. Two defaults that you need to be aware of is that if a person only touches one page on your website, we automatically default the duration to 180 seconds. If a person touches multiple web pages in a single session, the very last session defaults to 60 seconds. So if I come in here and I put in greater than 150 seconds is 200 points, anybody who touches one page would meet that. So you have to be aware of little things like that to be able to gauge it properly. Maybe 2 points. One other item to be aware of, and this is something that I commonly do, so I like to bring it to people's attention. The duration is not bad to score a couple points on, but you don't want to make it your only factor in determining it has somebody's interest. I have a very bad habit of when I close out my screen at the end of the day, I have about 20 different tabs open, and I've been sitting on somebody's website all day long. So you do have to take into consideration things like that. People do things like that. They leave their computer up while they go to lunch, and your page might be the last one they touch. Sometimes people even leave it on overnight. So again, not bad to score, just don't make it the only thing that determines the alert going out. We also have single session total pages, and this is a little bit more accurate of something to score because you are gauging how many pages the person actively touched. Not how long they stayed on each page, but maybe if they touched more than 5 pages, that to me is a little bit more of an interest and something you can score a little bit higher on. Again, I would take a look at your web tracker and start to see how many pages on average people are touching. If you see that on average people are touching 1 to 2 pages, then 5 might be a little high for you. If you see on average people are touching between 2 and 4 pages, 5 might actually be really good for you. So monitor your Web Forensics tab to see what people are doing. Now that we have our scoring actually set up, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming back to the lead routing tab, and we're going to be telling the system what's going to happen as these scores are accumulated. Again, with account scoring, the only thing it controls is when that real-time unknown account alert goes out. So I'm going to select New here. It's going to open up a window, and it's going to ask me for a group name. Group name can be anything of your choosing. I'm only going to have one group because, again, all it's controlling is the alert, and I'm simply going to say Send Alert. Begin range is where your scoring points come into play. You need to think about, okay, looking at the scoring points that I've assigned, at what point do I want to receive that real-time alert? If I put in 500 here, it's going to be unattainable because my scoring is set very low. So maybe I want to put it at 20. That would give somebody the opportunity to touch multiple pages, maybe get 5 points for touching my pricing page, maybe get another 5 points if they touch more than 5 pages. So there's different ways that they could accumulate a score of 20. Again, the lead scoring profiles are a constant tweaking process, which means that you'll set this up, and if you find that you're receiving no alerts whatsoever, then your scoring is too high. Your lead routing is too high. You need to move it down a little bit. If I set it at 20 and I'm getting overwhelmed still with alerts, then this is too low. I need to bump it up a little bit. So you do have to constantly monitor and analyze to see if it needs to be changed. Your end range, if it is your last or your only scoring group, needs to represent infinity, which is represented by 999. This is telling the system that any unknown account that comes in and scores between 20 and infinity will have these actions occur. What actions can occur? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select Add. You're going to see an action in the drop-down, and you can see Select Template. You do have the ability to create customized templates. You don't have to go with the standard. The standard is obviously called System Template. You would create your customized templates here under the Lead Analyzer tab in Templates, and then you would see them as an option here. Hit Save. Let's look at our other actions. We also have the action to send alert to a role. Roles can obviously be assigned to users. You can say to send the alert to a geo, and again, geos can be assigned to users. You can assign individual countries and individual states to users as well, and these are all set inside of the user profile. If you don't choose one of these 4, then you can simply sign people up to receive them no matter what role, what geo, what country, what state. If I have Bob Smith as a user and I want Bob to receive every single alert, then I would not choose one of these. I would simply sign him up to receive the account alerts inside of his user profile. And I'll walk you through how to do that. We also have Suppress Multiple Alerts. This will suppress you from receiving multiple real-time alerts for the same organization if they reach that score every time they come into the website. What I mean by that is if we have Acme Co. that comes in, they reach the scoring profile over 20, a real-time alert would go out. If Acme Co. comes in a couple hours later and they achieve that score again, greater than 20, would you want to receive another alert? Some people say yes, some people say no. It's completely up to you. And then my favorite action type is suppress ISP. This is where we are suppressing automatically Internet Service Provider real-time alerts from going out. Again, there is nothing that you can really do with a real-time alert for Comcast Communications. Think of how many people utilize that as their ISP, and again, we're grouping those all together. The main point of receiving these real-time alerts is so that you can take the initiative to go out and find a contact or a lead at that particular company. At this point, we are done with the scoring profile, but now I want to show you a couple other things. So I'm going to hit Save and Return. We're going to hit Save and Return. Again, this is make sure it's inactive. And I'm going to show you how to sign somebody up to receive the real-time alert. I'm going to come over here to Administration. I'm going to click on the Administration in the ribbon bar. And you would go to Users. Next to each user's name, we have a Manage Subscriptions link where you can click on that and you can give people the ability to receive the account alerts. As this is checked, then it will go to that person. If I have Larry checked, I have Mahesh checked, they will both receive the account alerts. So again, options. The last area that I want to show you is I want to show you our Jigsaw integration, and I'd like to show you our LinkedIn integration, because these are the two features that you can definitely access inside of the system in SalesFusion, and again, be able to utilize it inside of your marketing efforts. I'm going to select Search, and I'm going to search for an account that I know we have in our system called Coverall. The Jigsaw integration does cost, not to use in our system, but to actually purchase the contact, and the LinkedIn integration is free. So let's search for the account. I'm going to open the account. And if this was an unknown account, meaning I had no idea who this person was on my website, but they've been reaching that score over and over again. You can see we have LinkedIn here, and we have Jigsaw. If I go to LinkedIn first, it's going to ask my permission to access my LinkedIn account. You can see grant SalesFusion 360 access to your LinkedIn account, Jamie Whited. That is me. I'm saying yes, I do want to give them access. So I'm going to click on Continue. What it's doing right now is it's using my LinkedIn profile, and it's searching for anybody that's on LinkedIn that has the word Coverall in their profile somewhere, whether it be a current job, a previous job, in their resume, doesn't matter, we're looking for it. We're telling you the company name that they are currently affiliated with, and then we're also giving you their title, what country they're located in, and their first and last name. Due to privacy laws, we cannot give you their email address. That's something that is not accessible. This is the only information we can give you. If this is the person that you want to add, and this is Manager of Sales and Marketing Operations, this is my ideal target, I can say Add to CRM. It will add them to the SalesFusion CRM as a lead, and then I can use Google or some other method to be able to call this company, but at least I have a name of who to reach out to. Again, this one is completely free. Definitely take advantage of it. If we go back to the account, and we have Jigsaw. Now, Jigsaw is where you can gather the email address to be able to use inside of the email campaigns and different items. You do have to go to the Administration tab and enter your Jigsaw username and password. You have to have an account. But then you type in the account name, you type in the country, and you click on Search. What it's going to do first is it's going to find the account details. This is the account I'm looking for, and I want to say Show Details. You can see it's giving me the address, the state, even the postal code, and how many active contacts are affiliated with this account in Jigsaw. You can update the account for free by clicking this button. And then you can also choose to find contacts. When you click on Find Contacts, it's going to ask you for a title. You have to do a title. So I'm going to type in Sales. Click on Search, and it's going to search those 200 active contacts that Jigsaw has and find everybody that contains sales. If this is who I'm looking for, I can then say Purchase Contact. Using your Jigsaw account information, you will purchase this record, which does give you all the information, including the email address, and it adds them to SalesFusion as a lead and allows you to market to them. So very cool feature. Again, you can utilize it together with the real-time account alerts. Okay, that's all I have for you on account scoring profiles. I do want to point you to our help, which is under our toolbox tab. We have a learning management, which has our recorded videos, also has some tips and tricks. It has some manuals, some great information here. And then we also have our online help resource, which is a good reference. If you can't remember how to use the Jigsaw integration, you can type in Jigsaw, and it walks you through how to use it and step-by-step process. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day.